If you've been spending way too much time on your phone, this is the video for you. Last week I spent a staggering 7 hours and 17 minutes per day on my phone, which adds up to 51 hours per week. Doomscrolling leaves us feeling unproductive, anxious, and unable to focus. Not only does it waste precious hours of the day without us realizing, but it also negatively affects our mental health, disrupts our sleep, and ultimately leaves us feeling disconnected from the real world. In this video, I'm going to share 40 plus hobbies that you can do to replace doomscrolling and finally put down that damn phone. To make it easier, I've split the hobbies into categories. Firstly, we're going to start with creative hobbies. Now, I saw a quote that said, the opposite of depression is expression, and that couldn't be more true. When you're creating something that's actually your own, that you've built and put time and effort into creating yourself, you can actually feel proud of it, and it really helps you have this sense of achievement, and it also enables you to have a creative outlet. So there are many creative hobbies, things like painting, colouring, drawing, scrapbooking is really nice. Take all the memories of all the holidays and places you've been and turn it into a scrapbook. You could even write stories and poems if that's your thing. Other hobbies such as learning calligraphy could be a good idea. Photography or videography if that's your thing. Learning an instrument. Now, it's important to note that you're not going to be good at the hobby at the very beginning, and that's not actually the point of it. The point is actually that you learn something new, you learn some new skills, and you actually enjoy doing something creative in the real world rather than doom scrolling on your phone. Next is journaling, and journaling can really help you to write down your thoughts, organize your ideas, and actually record your life in a different way. The next category is active and outdoor hobbies. This is arguably the best for your mental health. Getting outside, getting fresh air, sunshine, and just reconnecting with nature is going to really help your mental and physical health. So we've got obvious ones like hiking, walking, running, even just walking your dog. And if you don't really like walking, bike rides are a really fun activity to do in a group or by yourself, and you can cover much longer distances and see lots of beautiful scenery that you might not have seen if you haven't got the time to walk. And what I notice when I put my phone down and go outside for a walk is I actually hear the birds singing, and it's things that you actually miss when you spend way too much time on a screen. You really miss the sounds of nature when you're glued to your phone, so it's actually really beneficial to get outside and remember how beautiful our world actually is. Other examples of active hobbies could be learning a new sport, so that could be dancing, taking a tennis lesson, for example, learning how to play badminton. And these things can be done for free in your back garden. For example, you can get a badminton net and put it up in the back garden to play with friends or family. You don't have to spend lots of money. My next active hobby is weight training. At the gym or at home, you could buy some weights and do it at home. Building muscle and getting strong has many benefits for not only your mental health, but also your physical health. But if you don't like weight training, something that's really popular at the moment is Pilates and yoga, and that's a more gentle form of exercise, but really helps you develop a strong core. And again, there are Pilates classes, reformer Pilates classes that you can go to, or alternatively, there's many free videos you can find on YouTube, and you can just get out a mat and do it at home in the comfort of your own home. Finally, if you want to be a bit more adventurous, learning a new skill like ice skating, skiing, rock climbing, kayaking, something that gets you out your comfort zone, that's outside, that you wouldn't normally do in your everyday life, can be a really fun thing to try. It can be a really fun activity with friends. Even things like rowing a boat on a lake, if it's a nice day, can be a really nice activity rather than spending all your time inside scrolling on your phone on TikTok. Now, the next category of hobbies are tech and digital hobbies. Just because we're trying to replace doom scrolling doesn't mean we have to get rid of technology altogether. Things like learning to code can be a really great skill to learn. Alternatively, you could build a website if you're looking to start a business or a blog. Skills such as video editing and filmmaking are really, really valuable if you want to start a YouTube channel, or maybe just for fun if you want to create some short films. And again, you don't have to have any fancy, expensive equipment. There's so many free tutorials on YouTube that you can follow to learn how to make a good video. And honestly, you can make really good quality videos with just your iPhone. iPhones film in 4K now, and that's all you really need. And it can be a really great activity just to vlog your life, just to document your life. You don't have to necessarily upload it to YouTube or anywhere, but just to keep those as memories. And if you prefer filmmaking, it can also be a great outlet for creative expression to create some short movies as well. Another really fun hobby could be graphic design. So if you're building a website, maybe you want to design a logo or create some graphic design for other things such as digital animation. It'd be really interesting to learn how to do. It looks quite complicated, but if you looked at some tutorials with a couple of weeks practice, that could be a really fun hobby to start. Now we're moving on to relaxing and mindful hobbies. So this is really looking after your brain. Things like meditation and breath work if you suffer from anxiety. I find that when I've been doom scrolling a lot on my phone, it makes me really anxious. So meditation can really help you and clear your mind. The next one is reading. So that could be reading fiction or non-fiction books. Reading is such an underrated hobby. I don't actually like reading fiction books, but non-fiction books, even things like business books, can be really interesting. If you like fiction books, definitely start reading more. And it's a hobby you can do all year round. So if it's winter time, you can do that inside. If it's summertime, you can sit outside on a blanket or on a chair and really enjoy the sunshine whilst you're reading. And reading is a really great form of escapism that can replace doom scrolling, because ultimately we scroll on our phone for hours because we're trying to escape the harsh reality of life. But books can really replace that. If you're reading fiction books, it enables you to escape into another reality than your own. If you're reading self-improvement books, that can really help give you some ideas on how to improve your own life. The next mindful hobby is listening to audiobooks and podcasts. And this is something that's really great to do if you're going out for a walk, if you're going to walk on a treadmill at a gym. It enables you to pair an activity, perhaps doing the hoovering or something you really don't want to do, with listening to a podcast or something that feels fun to do. And there are also lots of podcasts that are not only on Spotify, but also on YouTube. So you can actually watch the video version if you want to. Just listening to podcasts is a great way to mindfully consume media without being on a screen all day, and it allows you to get other jobs done at the same time. Now, if your mental health is suffering from doom scrolling on your phone, something that can be really great to make yourself feel better is doing a self-care routine. Now, this can be literally pampering yourself, taking an everything shower, just making yourself feel better by improving your physical appearance. But self-care doesn't have to mean that. It can also be taking yourself off for a spa day. It could be something as simple as playing with your dog in the garden. Anything to make yourself feel better. Surrounding yourself with your favorite people is also a great form of self-care. But equally, if you want to spend time by yourself, maybe it's getting into bed at 9 p.m. and reading your favorite book. Self-care is going to look different for everyone, but it's just taking some time for yourself, not putting pressure on yourself to do all the things on your to-do list, and just really taking some much needed rest time so that you can feel better, well rested, and ready to take on the challenges of your life. And the last hobby on my list of mindful hobbies is actually things to help work your brain. So things like crosswords, puzzles, Sudoku. Initially we think, oh, those are things only old people do, but actually not at all. There's so many young people that enjoy doing Sudoku. And it's just a quick thing that you can spend as little time as 10 minutes or up to an hour doing it. It's really variable. Again, something you can do out in a coffee shop if you want, or at home. If you prefer numbers, Sudoku. If you prefer letters or words, maybe a crossword. And these really do help keep your brain sharp solving puzzles, because when we've doom scrolled for a long time on our phone, our brain just becomes a bit of a vegetable. We're unable to think, and it actually makes us worse academically. So sometimes it's nice just to practice using our brain again to make sure that we haven't lost that ability. The next category is arguably one of the most important categories as well, and this is social and communal hobbies. Putting down your phone and going out and connecting with people is so important. I am a bit of a lone person, but whenever I meet up with my friends, it always makes me feel so much better. And even if you don't necessarily have many friends or family that you can do things with, there's lots of clubs that you can join. For example, book clubs if you enjoy reading. It could also be something like joining a local sports team if you're into football, if you're into basketball, tennis. It could be a really great way of getting some exercise and also meeting some new people at the same time. Volunteering is also a really underrated thing that you can do rather than doom scrolling on your phone. Getting out and helping other people, because when we help other people, it actually in turn really gives us this rewarding feeling and a sense of purpose, and that can actually really counter depression when we feel useful in society and that we're actually making a difference to other people's lives. Something I really love to do in the summertime is picnics with family and friends outside. There's nothing better than going outside with a picnic blanket, and again, this can be as local as your garden or your local park, or you can even travel further afield. Take a blanket, make some nice food, and just go and sit in the sunshine with your friends or your family and just spend some quality time. That's going to make you feel so much better than scrolling on your phone. If you really enjoy cooking, you could even host friends and family at your house, make a nice dinner for everyone. Maybe everyone makes something and brings it. You can really make this into a nice social event. Maybe it's a board game night, maybe you play cards, or maybe you just sit and chat and catch up with people that you haven't seen in a long time. But these wholesome activities are really going to help you feel less anxious. They're really going to help you make memories with the people that you love the most, and ultimately make your days more fulfilling. If you want to learn something new, you could even take a local class, like a pottery class. You could go pottery painting with your friends, and it's a really nice way to make a personalized gift for someone special in your life. And the last one is pen pal or writing letters. So in this digital age where we're just so used to sending instant messages on Instagram, sometimes it's really nice to go back to the old-fashioned way of writing letters. Maybe it's to your friend that lives in a different country, it could be a postcard, and just really go back to the basics of writing a letter, recounting your life, and the excitement of posting it and waiting for their response is just a really nice way to connect with people, not have this instantaneous messaging that doesn't really mean very much. When you're waiting for a response from your friend, that can be really exciting. And sometimes when you're writing a letter, you end up detailing more of your life than you would in just a quick message. When we're messaging back and forth, we often leave lots of details out, and sometimes it's nice in a letter just to write those details and actually actually communicate in depth with your friends and family that you might not see on a daily or weekly basis. My next category of hobbies to replace doom scrolling is DIY. So this can be things like cooking and baking. Even if you don't know where to start with cooking and baking, there's so many great recipes on the internet, tutorials on YouTube. If you're not sure how to bake a cake, you could just start with a packet mix and then eventually move on to making it from scratch yourself. And this is a really fun activity, again, that can be done either solo or in a group. If you prefer baking, you could do that. If you prefer cooking, or do both. And this is a really nice way to make some healthy meals and healthy snacks as well, rather than buying shop-bought processed foods. Because unfortunately, when we're doom scrolling and we're feeling anxious and unproductive, it does tend to go hand in hand with eating a lot of junk food, which again makes us even more depressed. So if we can get out of that spiral, using our phone less, getting outside, doing exercise, doing some nice wholesome activities, learning new things, and nourishing our body with good food, that can also be a really good way to make yourself feel better. And ultimately, when you've made the food, you feel this sense of achievement, and it's nice knowing that you're putting good food into your body rather than processed junk food. If you're into knitting, crocheting, embroidery, it can be a really great hobby to learn. I used to knit when I was little, and so that's something I would really like to get back into. And again, it's a really nice way of making some personalized presents for people. It means so much more when someone receives a present that's actually handmade by you rather than just bought in a shop. Again, you can start with something really simple and build your way up. It's okay if it takes a while to get the hang of knitting, crocheting. It's not easy, but that's also part of the fun, is learning over a period of time and improving and getting better day by day. It's going to make you feel so much more productive, and it's going to be so much more rewarding than just scrolling on your phone all day. Something I've never tried, but I know it is a hobby that some people really like doing, is candle making and soap making, jewelry making, or flower arranging. Again, they can make really great gifts, or you can just do it for yourself. And it's really nice to learn how to make these things that you wouldn't necessarily know how to make. And learning something new is going to be really, really good for your self-esteem, gaining skills over time, and just a really fun activity that you've never done before. And when we do things that we've never done before and we get outside of our comfort zone, it really creates long-lasting memories. It's something memorable rather than just doing the mundane every day, going to work, coming back and just scrolling on our phone. It really helps enrich your life and create new memories that you can look back on when you're older. And finally, this is not really a DIY activity, but decluttering your space is massively underrated. When you've got a space full of clutter and things that you don't need anymore, it can really weigh you down, and it can really promote this unhealthy habit of just avoiding everything that there is to do and just scrolling on your phone. But if you declutter your space, take clothes to charity, give it to friends and family, get rid of old things that you don't need anymore, it can really help clear your mind, make you feel a lot more calm. And if you have a nice inviting space, you're more likely to want to try new hobbies in your home than if it's all cluttered and messy. So I would really recommend once in a while having a good closet clear out, or a clear out of your apartment altogether. It's actually really going to benefit your mental health more than you would think. My next category is brain boosting activities. So this is really learning skills that are going to be really good for the brain, and it's going to help you learn new things, grow, become more intelligent, and ultimately become more educated. This can be studying any subject that you're mildly interested in. So maybe it's history, science, philosophy, learning about the justice system, learning about politics. It's ultimately about expanding your thinking and understanding of the world, and also being able to critically think, because sometimes when we're scrolling on our phone, we're fed a lot of misinformation and we become really gullible. So it's important to open our minds and be able to critically think and question the information that we're consuming on a daily basis. Another hobby that's really great for the mind is learning a new language. This is something I really have enjoyed doing, learning French over the years. If you would like to learn French or English with me, I'll leave a link in the description where you can book a lesson with me. To improve your knowledge and understanding, taking an online course can be a really great way to gain some skills. So this could be a course in anything, in marketing, getting a diploma in Pilates, taking an acting class. Again, it could be in person or it can be online. But when we see ourselves improving and progressing over time, that can really help our self-esteem and help us to feel a lot more confident about ourselves, and ultimately get out of this cycle of doom scrolling. Learning about history and cultures is really underrated. There's so many things about other countries that we don't learn about, and you don't necessarily have to visit them if you don't have the means to. You can actually learn a lot of stuff online by watching documentaries or reading about other cultures. It's actually very beneficial to see how other people live and think in other parts of the world, because we don't all do things the same way. So having knowledge about other cultures, also the history of different countries, is going to make you a more well-rounded person. And finally, a hobby that many people enjoy taking up is chess. This really enables you to think strategically against an opponent. And again, you can play chess in person, or you can play online games against people in other parts of the world. And it's just a really great hobby to start if you want to develop your critical thinking skills and have something to focus on for a few hours. And we've made it to the last category of hobbies, which is productive money-making hobbies. Now, there's nothing better than actually starting your own business and making yourself some money. And this can be done in many different ways. So the creative and DIY hobbies we spoke about earlier, things like artwork, drawing, candle making, jewelry making, these can all be sold for money if you've learned how to do graphic design. You can put all these hobbies and skills together to actually make something that you can sell and make yourself some extra cash. Again, old clothes that you've cleared out from your wardrobe can also be sold for extra money. Alternatively, things like going thrift shopping and reselling items can also be a really great side hustle. And it doesn't just have to be clothes. You can also restore furniture if that's your thing. Repainting furniture and upgrading it and then selling it on can also be a really lucrative hobby. You could also do freelancing services. So if you're really good at creative writing, or you know how to code or build a website, these are actually skills that you can monetize and sell to other people. And that can also really boost your confidence and help you feel productive and that you're actually moving yourself forward in your life outside of your work. If you really like social media, but you're trying not to doom scroll on your phone, starting a YouTube channel or any social media channel can be a really great way to still use social media without the mindless doom scrolling, and ultimately helps you have a creative outlet and a sense of community because you're posting on the platform rather than just consuming content for hours on end. And lastly, if you have skills and knowledge, you can turn these into digital ebooks that you can sell online. So let's say you have a lot of knowledge about a specific area of health, or you have a lot of finance knowledge or a lot of legal knowledge. You can make downloadable PDF documents that you can sell for money, and that way you're making yourself an income whilst also helping other people. This was a non-exhaustive list of hobbies that you can try to replace doom scrolling. I obviously didn't mention the obvious, which is traveling to new places, to new countries, new cities, because I know that's not always possible for everyone. But if you can't travel, it could be something so simple as visiting a new museum in your city, or visiting a new place or a new cafe in your city with your friends that you've never been to before. It's just about getting outside, enjoying the real world, enjoying time with people that you love, rather than just wasting hours on end being depressed scrolling on your phone. And if all else fails and you really must be on your phone, something such as calling a friend, FaceTiming a friend on the other side of the world is going to be so much better than doom scrolling on your phone. You're still going to have this sense of connection, even if it is through a screen. I hope this video was helpful and inspires you to try some new hobbies. Remember, it's not about being good at them. It's about trying something new, getting out of your comfort zone, making memories with the people that mean the most to you. Learning a new skill or hobby is going to really help you become more educated, more creative, more active, so you can look back when you're 80 and be glad you didn't waste the most precious years of your life scrolling on your phone.